In 1989, Sylvester Stallone had two films that took place in prisons. Tango and Cash was one where part of the film took place in a prison. The other film is one we're going to discuss today. Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a film that I don't hear get talked about much when people discuss Sylvester Stallone's career. Obviously, Rocky comes up all the time. Rambo, Tango and Cash. That film's iconic because it was him and Kurt Russell teaming up together. You have Demolition Man, Cliffhanger, all these films that everybody remembers. Over the Top is one that a lot of people have nostalgia for. We're going to talk about Lockup today. Yes, the film where Sylvester Stallone spends most of his time in a prison, almost like Escape Plan many years later with Arnold Schwarzenegger. This film came out August 4th of 1989. It was made through TriStar Pictures. Stallone had signed a 10-picture deal with TriStar Pictures. This is the only film ever made out of that deal. The other 9 were never shot. This movie's rated R. It's an hour and 49 minutes long. Had a $24 million budget. Unfortunately, upon release, it only made 22. And back in 1989. Now, this movie is directed by John Flynn. John Flynn, after this, went on to do Out for Justice. He directed other things, but that's one I reviewed last year. You can check that out if you scroll on down. So John Flynn, there was an interview with John Flynn about back in 2005 about this film, and he said, I got hired, we had a star, Sylvester Stallone, who had a window of time to make a film before he went off to do something else. They had a budget and a director and a crappy script. So they rushed to get a script together, find a location, get a cast, and go shoot. They did not have a whole lot of time to get this movie going because Sylvester Stallone only had a short period of time to shoot this film, and Sylvester Stallone is in the majority of the film. So it was kind of like a S show of a production at first. But John Flynn said Sylvester Stallone was a trooper. He did everything he was asked to do, never complained. And that's always nice to hear about the star of a film. Now in this film, obviously, we got Sylvester Stallone as Frank. We got Donald Sutherland as the prick warden, and he chews the scenery gloriously. Donald Sutherland's great as the dick warden. We got John Amos. He's like the sergeant of all the prison guards, the shitty prison that Stallone ends up going to. We'll talk about it. Sonny Landham is in this film as one of the prisoners, one of the mercenary prisoners for the warden, and he plays Chink. And Sonny Landham was in plenty of 80s films, Predator, 48 Hours, The Warriors. We got Tom Sizemore in his first film role as Dallas. Actually, Sylvester Stallone and Tom Sizemore became good friends. Sylvester Stallone gave him his big break. This was his first film. And Frank McRae is in this film, and he plays Eclipse. And Frank McRae actually played NFL football for 6 games for the Bears before he went into movies because he was in Rocky II. He played the meat packing plant manager. Paradise Alley with Stallone. Fist with Stallone, so he did a couple films with Stallone and this one. He was in Batteries Not Included, Used Cars. He's great in that film, 48 Hours, another 48 Hours, Red Dawn. He's had a long career. He was in a lot of things, and he was always recognizable because he's so big, because he's a very big dude, and he's in this film as well as Eclipse. And this film was actually shot in East Jersey State Prison. That's where they did this. And some of the people in the film, like some of the background actors, were actually really real prisoners. And we'll get into some more of that then. The film basically starts off as we're introduced to Sylvester Stallone and his girlfriend. And Sylvester Stallone's in this garage, and we come to find out in the beginning of the film, we see her taking him back to prison, like dropping him off in front of this prison. And we assume he works there because they don't say he's a prisoner. And here we come to find out that he's actually a prisoner. He has 6 more months on his prison sentence he's in like this minimum security prison. And when he walks in, he's a good rapport with all the guards. Everybody seems to like him. And he's just biding his time to get out. And we come to find out as the film goes on that the garage that he was at in the beginning of the film was by this old guy that he used to hang around with, and the guy taught him how to work on cars. And a couple people in the neighborhood beat the crap out of this guy, and Sylvester Stallone went after them because the cops wouldn't do anything and took revenge. He didn't kill him, but he beat him up pretty badly. So he got charged with aggravated assault or some kind of assault charge, and he ended up in prison for that. And Sylvester Stallone's very likable in this role. He's always likable, honestly. That's why we root for Sylvester Stallone in these films. And so he has 6 months left, and that night, John Amos shows up with a bunch of other guards from this other prison and takes Stallone out of that prison and take him to this other shithole of a prison, maximum security prison. And he's confused, and even the guards at the other were like, where are you taking him? He's not supposed to be transferred, but the warden got him transferred to his prison, and we come to find out they have a very complicated relationship. When Frank started his prison sentence, he was at this other prison with this warden, and after seeing the abuses of this warden on some of the prisoners, Frank broke out and broke the story to the media about some of the things that this warden was doing behind the walls, and got him demoted to this shitty prison and made him look bad in public. So this is the warden's way of taking revenge. And Donald Sutherland is great as this asshole warden, and he plays it wonderfully. And him and Stallone play off each other really well when they're on screen together. And basically his job, he's just trying to make Stallone's life a living hell, Frank's life a living hell. Now, while he's there, he meets Dallas, Tom Sizemore's character, and he's kind of like the fast-talking, almost like car salesman type of dude. And he meets this other guy they call First Base, and then he meets the Clips. So he ends up getting this group of guys that are like his social circle in prison, and he ends up working in the garage with Eclipse and that. And there's a really cool scene before he goes to the garage, this football scene in the, like, it's winter, like there's snow on the ground, and the field's all muddy. It actually looks cold and miserable. It's really well shot, and actually a really cool football sequence. And after this, we really start developing their friendship, with Stallone's friendship with these other characters. And the warden is trying to push Frank's buttons to get him to do something to get him in prison longer, because he wants basically to kill him in prison, have one of his, which Sonny Landham's like his like enforcer into prison. And they push Stallone so far that Stallone actually assaults Landham because Chink goes and kills First Base, which Frank has become really close to. And in a brutal scene, he goes out in the yard and he kicks his ass. And after that, it's basically Frank realizes he has to try to break out. And he gets set up by Dallas. There's a confrontation with the guards. And at the end, he confronts the warden and makes the warden admit to all the crimes he has committed. And in front of John Amos's character, and at the end of the film, the warden gets arrested. Frank serves the rest of his time, gets out of prison, and we have a happy ending. There's some more things in there, but this is basically an 80s version of a prison film. It's gritty in parts. It's well shot. Stallone's very likable. Yes, it's over the top and cheesy in scenes. This was the 80s, but I love this film. I always have. It's a good, solid prison film. I like the characters. I like the world. This prison feels like this old, dank, shitty prison that would be held to be sentenced to. And all the character actors that are around Stallone are great, and they help sell it. I know this got pretty bad reviews upon release. And again, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. That might just be in my social circle or people I talk to. But this is not a film that gets mentioned a lot with some of Stallone's better films. And I think it's a good film. Some of the other trivia was Bill Conti actually came in to do the score for this film, and he worked with Stallone on Rocky and Rocky 2 and some other films. And basically in 89, like I said in my intro, Tango and Cash came out the same year as this film. Tango and Cash was a bigger hit than this film, but yeah. So Stallone made two basically kind of prison movies in the same year. Although in Tango and Cash, they don't spend nearly as much time in the prison. But yes, Lock Up is a solid flick. I mean, it's more about the characters. There are some action scenes, the football scene, and then Stallone trying to break out at the end, and he backtracks to the warden. It's all a little over the top, but if you go along with the ride, if you like the characters, I always say if you like the characters and you like the story, if they go a little over the top, you can go with it and have no problem with it. And this is one of those cases, I feel anyway. I really like this film. I would give Lock Up an 8 out of 10. Yes, there are some drawbacks, but it's a damn solid flick. So yes, 8 out of 10 for Lock Up. Have you ever seen this Sylvester Stallone film? If you have, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly appreciate it. I'll be back later in the week with the review for The Warriors, another film that Sonny Landham was in. And I hope everyone's doing well out there. And I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.